If there's one thing that I really love about Jon and Dave, it's the fact that they have been very much direct with the fans and very much, being very vocal with the fan base, teasing and hinting a lot of things of what's to come, really kind of ramping up the hype for the franchise and what's bound to release in 2023 this year, and of course beyond, for the new Star Wars universe at hand. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the kind and great support. Now, obviously, we know that they are on a mission to really kind of bringing Star Wars back in action, bringing it back to its roots, back down to the vision of George Lucas. That's the overall structure of the plan. That's what Disney CEO Bob Iger wants to do, and how he's allowing a lot of Chapek's initial plans to transfer over to Jon and Dave's work, which is good news, by the way. Whether it's an act of desperation on Iger's part or not, doesn't matter. They're trying to correct their ways. Now, the thing about this is that they have to convince fans that Star Wars is turning around, and the only way about doing that is by having a consistent flow, and I've said this many times, a consistent flow of Star Wars TV shows that are going to be successful, alright? And you can't have, one being successful, one being a big flop, one being successful again, and repeat. It has to be a nice lineup of great installments to really kind of turn things around. And that's what Jon and Dave are focused on. Consistency when it comes to quality. Now, with that being all done and said, what's really exciting is exactly what Lucasfilm recently had to tease for the future of Star Wars and exactly what fans can expect when it comes to what Jon and Dave are creating and what Jon and Dave are also able to tease. So let's tap right into this. Now, of course, with both Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready to retcon many pieces of the sequel trilogy using the second season of Ahsoka, they are also about to give a green light on, of course, for Jon and Dave. Many other pieces of the canon are also being shifted around. However, recently Lucasfilm teased the biggest twist in Star Wars history for the fans to witness in one of their upcoming projects. A Lucasfilm spokesperson went on to tease the following to the community. With what we have Jon and Dave working on for The Mandalorian Season 4 and Ahsoka, our goal is to provide fans one of the biggest twists in Star Wars history, surrounding many familiar faces. This twist and turn that Jon and Dave are working on is something that they and the creative team have been putting together for the past couple of months now, that's going to reflect on many of the beloved characters and familiar faces to stretch across the Star Wars films and even some of the Star Wars shows that we have coming out. Now, I want to pause here quick for 1 second. Now, we already know that Jon and Dave teased that they are working on what's labeled as the biggest twist in the Star Wars, timeline. That it's going to outperform the I am your father moment and even anything other else than that. Now, can they really go about doing that? Can they really create a twist that's going to be so large that it's really going to stretch across all the films, that it's really going to take all the fans by surprise? I think yes. As long as they are able to keep their minds open and really pay attention to the lore and not break too much canon, whatever they're up to, it's going to be good. I can almost assure that, because Jon and Dave, they have told us before, they have told the public before, that this big twist that they're working on, it's not over-exaggerated, it's not like they're using this to hype up fans just for the sake of it. This really is, in their mind, going to be the biggest twist in the history of the franchise, both in Legends and in the canon. And it's all going to appear in Mando Season 4, leading into a potential Ahsoka Season 2 that's now currently in the very early stages. Basically Disney's about to give a green light on that to make it happen, so that's another great thing to look forward to as well. So, that really brings us to what's going on here. What is this big twist and turn? If it's going to cross the entire Skywalker saga and all the movies and some of the shows, it's got to be big, right? Now, we already know that they are working on something huge for Grogu's revelation, but apparently this twist in particular is going to go beyond that Grogu revelation about who he is, where he really comes from, why people want Grogu, why the Imperial army wants him, why the Empire wants him, stuff like that. It's going to go beyond that. And this big twist is going to be something that's going to label Jon and Dave in pop culture. That's how big they want it to be. So, obviously, the Lucasfilm creatives putting it out there that they've been working on this for months. That could be 10 months, that could be 11, who knows. But there's a lot of things being poured in to the Mandoverse. So moving on from that, they go on to elaborate. This twist that they have been working on will involve big revelations surrounding the Skywalkers, and even some of the newer characters that were introduced by Jon and Dave, and we are very excited to be working directly with them on how this can live up to expectations. Additionally, both Jon and Dave at one point teased this in a recent interview, saying the following: "We have, yes, been working on what we like to call the biggest shock in Star Wars since, ever. It's something that we think is really coming together that is going to stretch across every film that you have ever seen. And we hope, just hope, that everyone likes it." So, when you look at it like this, alright, Jon and Dave, they're not really desperate creators. These are creators that are very passionate, they love what they do, they love the Star Wars fans, they love the overall community, they just want to make fans happy. And they want to create that good feeling again. Dave Filoni calls it a good feeling. He said that in the Disney Plus gallery. And that good feeling is when you go on TNT and you see the Star Wars original trilogy pop up, you can't help yourself but to watch it, right? And you tune in, you watch it from start to finish, and you have that great feeling after watching it. They want to do that again with all of the big plans that they have, and especially with this big twist and turn. So like I say, Star Wars is not all about revelations and twists, I understand that, but Jon and Dave want to make a name for themselves that's really going to stand out, and that's all going to begin with Mando 4. This big revelation is supposed to actually surround the Skywalkers, so we're not quite sure exactly to which degree. If it's going to be more so lenient toward Anakin or Luke or whoever. That's going to be a big decision on Jon and Dave's part. So, obviously there's a lot of breadcrumbs in Mando Season 3 about this revelation. I mean, Order 66 is going to play a large role. We already know that they keep on making Order 66 flashbacks to really kind of continue that story. That's going to lead to other, big surprises as well. But this major twist, it does make you wonder if it's going to be so large that it stretches across all the movies. What could it possibly be? I would like to hear what each and every one of you guys have to say about that, because let's face it, Jon has told us before in the past that nobody as of yet, from what he has been reading on the internet, has guessed it. Nobody has guessed anything near close to what their big twist and their turn is for the upcoming Star Wars universe. And that, I think, really makes me all the more surprised. All the more excited especially. So, anyways, drop a comment below, guys. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.